Podcast is intended for mature audiences. The views and opinions expressed are those of the panelists and do not reflect in any way those of the podcast partners, sponsors, or affiliates. Enjoy.
Hi, this is Michael Buffer, and you're listening to the voice of the people. Let's get ready for Boxing Voice.
Boxingvoice.com.
What broke him down? Was it just the body punching? I was hitting him with body punching. I heard him actually he was crying in there. You were saying that Gibbs was crying when you hit him? Yes. When did that happen? And perhaps the fourth round on.
Boxingvoice.com.
So you knew you had him by that time.
Absolutely,
I knew he was tough and taking those punches.
DBLC Productions.
Making women gestures like, oh.
Let's go, champ.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, or should I say, we are back. It's been a long time, and I shouldn't have left you without a dope podcast to check out, right? But we're back, and there's a lot of boxing to talk, a lot of hipster shit, but luckily we got one of those in the bunch, and we got our super producer back, so things are already on the good foot. All right, we'll be talking a little Manny Pacquiao, a little bit of Jeff Horn, maybe sprinkling some Terrence Crawford, Chocolatito going to sleep, Usyk looking real good, Joshua Pulev. I mean, just a bunch of headlines. So if this is something that you're interested in, stick around, pat yourself on the back because we're back. Hit that thumbs up button. If it's not blue, you're definitely not doing it right. I'm going to head on out now to the Golden State. To both of my co-hosts.
DBLC Production.
This is a beautiful performance against a very tough guy in Michael Johnson. How do you feel about it?
Fuck that. Conor McGregor.
Boxingvoice.com.
You know me, Larry. From a wicked entrance, from a flip over the rope into a knockout. Now, when the main thing is, I just hope the guy, I wish.
Boxingvoice.com.
Yes, the hipsters here. Haters beware. And God, what a weekend of boxing. We had David Benavidez on Friday. We had Roman Gonzalez getting knocked out last night in vicious fashion. We had a great fight against Estrada and Quadras. And then we had Inoue making his USA debut. And plus, we had Usyk versus Huck over in Germany. It was just a great overall weekend of fights, especially since we had an off weekend after Mayweather McGregor. So it was nice to get back into it. I was at the fights live at the StubHub in Carson, California, so that was just a great atmosphere. Can't wait to talk about that and go more in depth on that card and the overall ramifications of it, the legacy of Roman Gonzalez now, because now we have to sort of talk about that. But yeah, it's just what a great overall weekend of fights. Can't wait to get into it. And of course, we have Manny Pacquiao turning down the rematch. We have Anthony Joshua Pulev being official and basically confirming Wilder Ortiz in November. So I just can't wait. It's just going to be a great show. Can't wait to chop it up with everyone.
And somewhere in that same Golden State, right?
There'll be nothing but smooth sailing.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Yep, I'm back on the camera. Finally got my office set up. Sorry if you hear an echo, but it should be all good. Really excited to get into everything that went on this weekend. A lot of good boxing. But first off, Ness, very happy to see you made it back from the PR safe and sound, bro. You know all of our prayers are with you. How was it out there?
I mean, it was good up until there were so many warnings and evacuations and, you know, a bunch of hoopla. But I was buried deep in the countryside, so I just got really hectic rainstorms. And obviously, you know, the flight was canceled because it was leaving from exactly where the hurricane was hitting in San Juan. But I was tucked away, man. It was more like a bay bootcation, because I was chilling with the Bay, but we were definitely in boot camp status. But let's jump right into high gear, man. We're gonna go to our main topic. We'll get our hipster here to give us the correct pronunciation of the winner. And his name is Hipster.
I mean, I know you like to call him Kit Kat Bar, but his name is Srisaket Sor Rungvisai. And I know I butchered that. I'll be honest. I'm awful with names. But he did an awesome job. He did. I'll be honest. I kind of predicted he was going to win this. I thought He was too big. The way his left hand was landing at will in the first fight, I thought he was going to replicate that in the rematch. And he went out there and just out-muscled him, and he just beat him up. He beat up Roman Gonzalez. I know a lot of people are going to call in who hate on the low weight classes saying, oh, all you hipsters that said Roman Gonzalez was a pound-for-pound level talent, you guys are liars. You guys were wrong. And I think that's inaccurate, and I know we're going to get more into that. But overall,
inaccurate for someone to think that or say that.
I mean, we can get into it a little bit later. I was going to just first dwell on the guy that won it first because he won the fight, and I wanted just to give him credit before we go to Roman Gonzalez. But if you want to go there, we can go right there. And the thing with Roman Gonzalez is that he's been fighting in championship level fights since 2008. He's been at the top of divisions for almost a decade, 9 years. And that was 3 divisions lower than the one he was in last night. He started out. So any other fighter, we throw them in a 9-year title reign where they go through multiple divisions. We're going to say that they're a pound-for-pound level talent. You throw anyone in there in that equation, we're going to say that of them. Now, could he have been overhyped by the people that say he is the pound-for-pound number 1 right now? That's very possible, and I probably agree with that sentiment. But to say he wasn't in the top 10, I think is ludicrous. I think that's absolutely false to say that he does not deserve to be in the top 10 pound for pound. Wherever you put him in there, I really don't care because that's all subjective, and we all know that. But to say he's not a pound for pound level talent when he was in that reign, at the top of that reign, I think would be disingenuous.
And Steven, where are you with this? Did you happen to catch Chocolatito and his bedtime story?
Yeah, I definitely caught it. I actually caught this really, really cool bar out here in Ontario. It was a great time. Me and my girl went to go watch it. We had a good time watching the fights. It was really good atmosphere. I definitely agree with a lot with Matt saying that a lot of people are going to call in talking about how everyone overrated Chocolatito, but I totally disagree with that. I think at that time when Floyd Mayweather retired, Andre Ward was still signed, hadn't even fought Sergey Kovalev the first time yet. Gennady Golovkin was beating Wade. Canelo, I think, had just finished knocking out Amir Khan at the time. Like, it really was an empty landscape. Like, Terrence Crawford, good as he was, he deserved to be up there. He certainly hadn't unified the title belts. It was kind of like an empty, it was up for grabs. And if you were to have picked Chocolatito at that time, you're pound for pound number 1, I had no problem with it. He was mine. Certainly, it's going to sound bad because he's going to probably be remembered as the placeholder number 1 after Floyd retired and before. Now we got Terrence Crawford and Andre Ward having had the success they've had this year so far. I don't like when anybody hate on him. I'm a big fan of Lou DiBella. When I saw Lou DiBella do the tweets, Lou DiBella was on the show, and he said that same thing he said in the tweets, that Roman shouldn't have been pound for pound. And it made me cringe because I'm a Lou DiBella fan, but I totally disagree with him on that. So I agree with what Matt said. He did definitely get out-hustled. That southpaw style, he got caught with that right hook early. I was telling my girl on the way to the fights, like, I feel like this guy's a little too big, and I think he should go back down and rebuild at 112.
It was interesting to hear the telecast mention that during the fighter meetings, Roman had indicated to them that he felt he couldn't hurt anyone in that division, and he was contemplating going back down. So obviously what they were trying to sell was that he had already stepped into the ring beat. Do you guys buy that? Like,
no, I don't buy that he was already beat. He may have already. The style matchup could have already been indicative of him losing. Like, he was like the fate, if you want to believe in fate. He was probably destined to lose this fight because of the style matchup and Rungvisai being such a difficult southpaw that has that power, has that grit, doesn't take a backward step. He's the kryptonite to Roman Gonzalez. He really is. He can out-brawl Roman Gonzalez. And Roman Gonzalez has always been great at brawling. So I think that's the concern there. I think I agree with Steven here. He needs to go back down to 112, reestablish himself there because he is too small for this division. I think that is true. He cannot hurt guys in this division. You saw that he couldn't hurt Quadras, really. And even though Estrada hurt him, and Estrada was really a 112-pounder. So I think Roman Gonzalez has a bunch of things on his side. One, he's too small for 115. He's also, I think, had a lot of wear and tear. You talk about anyone having a 9-year reign at the top of 4 divisions and 9 years of fights, wars, sparrings, training camps. You're going to have wear and tear on you naturally. And then when you throw in the fact that small weight classes, you need that speed. You need those reflexes. And when those drop off, and those are the first things to drop off when your athleticism starts to decline in any way, you will start losing at those weight classes. This is not the heavyweight division where you can get by power alone.
Now, I know you guys kind of came off as the defenders of Gonzalez and why you feel he should be pound for pound or was pound for pound. But I don't really put people on a pound for pound list based on what others around them have done. I know you were mentioning like, oh, where Crawford was at or wasn't at and who was hot and wasn't hot during that time. It's more about what that fighter can do. But let's forget about that for a moment and just think about fighting. I mean, if you're on the pound for pound list, shouldn't you know how to fight? Shouldn't you have Excuse me? You want to say something?
Are you implying that Roman Gonzalez doesn't know how to fight?
I don't know. You tell me.
I think that's one of the most ridiculous things you've ever said on this show.
You didn't let me finish, so obviously it's going to sound ridiculous to you. But
you wanted me to cut.
But if he knew how to fight, he would have more than one gear, is all I'm saying. He obviously knew from the first fight that this guy was a tough guy, so much so that he changed his trainer. Okay? Let's not mention that. And I asked you guys, did you think he came into this fight beat? And yes, he did come into this fight beat. He knew he couldn't win. That's why he changed his trainer. He was looking for a new something, some new edge, because he knew this was tough. But that's besides the point. Yo, Kit Kat is one-dimensional. He stands right there and he has a good wide stance, some nice legs, and he lets those punches go. But a boxer,
a lot of fighters at the top of divisions that are one-dimensional.
Listen, a boxer, a Terrence Crawford, anybody, a Mikey Garcia, anybody that's gonna fucking box, man, will not. Matter of fact, Cuadras beat Kit Kat. Why? Because Cuadras.
Oh, well, hold on. Time out. You've seen that fight, right?
Not all of it. Highlights.
Whoa. You know. Oh, so you don't realize the controversy of that fight and how a lot of people scored that fight for quote unquote Kit Kat.
Well, I can see that then because Cuadras was gassing out yesterday too after doing some good boxing in the beginning rounds. But again, a guy that could get on his toes, that's all that matters, bro. Like you don't have to stand there and brawl with Kit Kat, but Gonzalez chose to, not once but twice, and then he did it with Cuadras too. Like, I don't know, man. I just like my pound for pound guys, I don't know, to fucking be able to think.
I think he was trying to fight on the outside, but Kit Kat was landing that left hand at will.
You're crazy, bro. Kit Kat was not walking him down. I have the fight on right now. He was not just I'm
not saying he was walking him down, but he was landing.
Yes.
Ness, did you really expect Chocolatito to be able to outbox Kit Kat from the outside, being the shorter fighter?
I'd expect him to at least try, Steven.
Dude, go back and look at any fight when that size difference is the case. The smaller guy has to close the distance and get in there and have to brawl it out.
In the wheelhouse of that monster, and that's what the fuck happens.
Well, then maybe he just met a style matchup that was not good for him. Look at Manny Pacquiao, Jeff Horn. Maybe Jeff Horn just is a guy that will always get Manny Pacquiao.
But that still doesn't take away from the fact that if you know that game plan doesn't work, you have to change, regardless of the fact. You
are right about that, but he was.
Wait. No. Because the big part of that sentence is you don't keep doing it till you get knocked down. It's like, all right, I got to get on the inside because I'm the little guy, but every time I try, he's hitting me. And I'm not going to stop till he stops me from trying? That's stupid. It's stupid.
Okay, let's look at my...
We've seen tons of greats do this. We've seen tons of greats lose in this fashion.
Gears, bro. Step on the clutch, change gears, reset, think things out. That shit ain't working.
Wait, did you ask?
Should have switched gears and changed up on Tommy Hearns, man. He should have, but he got knocked the fuck out.
You're asking a fighter to change like his basic style. That's what got him there. That's what got him 4 champions in as many divisions. That's his style. You're gonna ask him to change that on one of the biggest fights of his career?
Listen, I'm not asking him to change that. I'm asking you to ask yourself that question about anybody else that we put in the pound for pound list. And do they not have the ability to think and change game plans?
Time out. If we're going to talk about pound for pound, then tell me 10 guys that are pound for pound better than Gonzalez 2 years ago.
2 years ago?
Because that's when he was pound for pound. Was about a year and a half ago, maybe a year ago.
Definitely 2 years ago.
Listen,
but hold on. That's the point here. Because I don't think me or Steven are saying he is pound for pound number 1, but he definitely top 10. I know Steven did say earlier he was pound for pound number 1 in his opinion, but we can say without a doubt he was top 10.
You know what's funny about this division?
Name 10 guys that are better than him 2 years ago.
Half of the people that call into this show wouldn't even know about this division if HBO wasn't going broke in terms of the boxing. If their budget wasn't so small and they could get these guys so cheap, like
who cares? These are great fights.
I disagree with you.
Great fights. These are great fighters.
And I disagree with you, dude. I think there's a lot of fighters because I remember that fight. There was a card where Chocolatito and Estrada were on the same card but not fighting each other, and it was a huge fight, and everyone had to look for the stream to watch it. I want to say it was probably around the time when Gennady was fighting William Monroe, and at that time, a lot of people who listened to the show called in and talked about that fight. A lot of people realize that they don't get the attention they deserve down there in lower divisions, and a lot of people do care about it. So I don't think it's
Gonzalez has been on a little bit of a run for like 3 years. Come on, man. We remember the J-Rose and the Neltas of the world calling in a couple of years ago talking about these guys, but that was around, maybe 6 months before HBO started talking about these guys, all right? So, let's not act like this is something brand new.
But why is that an issue? I don't understand why you bring that up like it's a negative. Like, why is it a negative that these guys who box are getting shine?
Because you can pound for pound anyone in any division.
No,
if you're gonna highlight them, you're gonna highlight. What do you mean? No,
you can pound for pound anyone in any division is what you just said. Those were your exact words. If you go by the definitions of all those words, that statement's false.
I mean, listen, Gonzalez had a bunch of weight classes to jump through. A guy like Usyk doesn't have weight classes to jump through, but talent-wise, you can pound for pound anybody in the division, especially if you're going to fucking highlight them and keep giving them shows and showcases.
Well, look, nowadays, today, present day, is Usyk maybe on the pound for pound list and Roman Gonzalez definitely is not? Yes. That's 100% a fact. But 2 years ago, 2 years ago, when everyone was talking about Roman Gonzalez being pound for pound number 1, which I didn't agree with, but he was definitely top 10, there was really no argument there because that made sense. He deserved to be in the top 10 then. Usyk maybe deserves to be in the top 10 now, but that's 2 years of time of difference. And a single month in boxing, a lot can change. In a single night, a lot can change in this sport. So let's not act like 2 years of time isn't an eternity in the fight game.
Anybody on the list has the ability to change the game plan. That's all I'm saying. When you think of that list, and I don't know how long it is, but I think really quick, Crawford. Oh, yeah. Obviously, the dude goes from southpaw to orthodox.
Crawford, throw him in there. Okay, that's one.
He definitely has the ability to change, right?
Name me 10 guys 2 years ago. No, 2 years ago.
Floyd definitely showed he has the ability to change. Then Andre Ward, oh, damn, he showed he has the ability to change, Pacquiao, I don't know.
He just lost.
No, but it's not about losing. It is.
Oh, it is about losing because
he certainly lost 2 years ago.
It's about the ability to change when something isn't working. You understand what I'm saying? Like if you got Margarito, for instance, Margarito's coming in front of you, right? Old prime Margarito. He's walking you down. You're not gonna stand there and Paul Williams with the guy unless you are a Paul Williams. You're tall, you're long, you have that range and the firepower where you can
talk about one specific aspect that is one single criteria in pound for pound. Resume goes into there. accolades going to there, number of divisions you jumped up.
Resume wouldn't matter, bro. You don't have the
guys you beat
intelligence.
goes into it. Yes, it does.
Look,
We did a whole show on this like 6 months ago, 9 months ago.
You'd love to do this. I wouldn't care about your resume if you don't have the ability to change. If something isn't working for you, you have to change it. You're gonna lose, then change it.
Are you telling me you've never seen Roman Gonzalez box?
I wouldn't.
Are you telling me you've never seen that? Then you haven't watched tape on him. Then you are ignorant.
All right.
You're ignorant on the on the subject.
I don't even know what you're arguing.
Hey Ness, where do you have like a do you have Golovkin in your pound for pound? Because I want to say that I haven't seen many different dimensions to Golovkin. The only time I've seen Golovkin box really well was against against when? David Lemieux? That was when he switched it up.
That's right. David Lemieux. He showed the world he could switch it up. That's
right. And
that's
you
one fight.
One fight. We can
no, that's not one fight. It's not one fight. He used that style again versus Jacobs. He showed the world he could switch it up and get behind his.
Hell no. Hell no, dude. Yes. He knocked Jacobs down, and then he was unable to finish up and capitalize in the next following rounds. And then the later part of the fight, all he could do was do what he was doing earlier, but try harder.
Unable to finish up. You see, that right there is just fight fans being greedy. Like he's giving you knockouts, so he has to finish an elite level fighter.
Ness, how diverse is Earl Spence?
You don't get knocked out.
How diverse is Earl Spence? Can he switch gears? Can he go from boxing?
He hasn't been put in a fight where we've been able to see that. But Roman was put in that fight twice, man. That's what you're forgiving that. That's what I'm saying. I'm saying
not forgiving
no way
that.
you're pound for pound to me.
That's really good.
No. To me, there's no way you're pound for pound if you can't change gears. No way. No way.
There's tons of guys that have lost to the same guy twice that are pound for pound, if not Hall of Fame, if not legendary. Tons of guys. Tons of guys that you can look into the Hall of Fame.
Why are you saying lost twice? Why are you saying I don't care about losing twice? It was the style, bro. The fight is on right now.
I am telling you right now. Hold on. Listen to me. Listen to me. I'm trying to explain it to you.
Don't let me speak.
Because I'm trying to explain to you because you said your point.
Oh, did I?
Yes, you did. That Roman Gonzalez did not change his style. He did not adapt to the same thing that was coming at him, right? Is that not your point?
No, adapt is what he tried to do. He fought fucking Kit Kat style. He seen he didn't have the firepower. He seen he was too small. He needed to change gear. He needed to get on his toes, maybe start doubling, tripling the jab, fight on the back foot. I don't fucking know, something else instead of being in the wheelhouse to get knocked out.
So when we look at, let's say, Roberto Duran, Sugar Ray Leonard 2, when we look at Roberto Duran, Tommy Hearns, when we look at some of those fights, do we not go, well, why couldn't he change it up? Why couldn't he figure it out?
Yes, man.
He was facing the same style. Why couldn't he figure it out?
How about something more recent? How about when Roy Jones lost to Tarver and then lost again by knockout? What did you think there?
And he's still a legend.
Did you think that Roy didn't deserve to be pound for pound at that time because you were able to look back and say he'd never switched gears?
Well, no. I mean, Tarver is a different person, though, right? I think me and Matt spoke about this off air specifically today. Tarver is going to go on at least be in the Hall of Fame. I mean, is Kit Kat going to go to the fucking Hall of Fame?
Good. We don't know. We don't know. That's all I'm going to say. I'm not saying he is. What if he goes in there and beats Inoue? Hold on. What if he goes in there and beats Inoue, beats Estrada, and goes on and beats a couple more guys? It's very possible he will.
Oh, beats Inoue, the dude that they fucking got a bank driver, a bank worker for Inoue. I mean, come on, man, stop fucking gobbling the hype, bro. HBO got a dude that's
hype when I've been seeing Inoue for
teller. He's a bank teller, and that's who Inoue
has been fighting for a while.
Versus, like I've been hearing Inoue's good.
Yo, Roy Jones Jr. fought a full-time cop once.
Quillen fought a stripper.
You guys are horrible, man.
Come on, man. Like we can go down the list if you want.
Horrible, man. You're horrible. You can't win with you guys. It's all right. You know, listen. All I'm gonna say is the debut of Inoue on HBO was no different than the debut of Gary Russell on HBO when he got that 8-rounder. It was, you know, a slaughtering. Like it was a sacrificial lamb. You know, I'm not impressed by you putting someone in there to lose that's supposed to lose. Like, I mean, put him in there. He was so good. He should have been fighting Estrada in there or Cuadras. Why? I don't know. Why was he getting this guy?
I do not know. Maybe
because Cuadras and Estrada were fighting each other in an eliminator to fight the winner of Roman versus Kit Kat.
I hear you. I hear you, Steven. Listen, I hear you. Pacquiao horn.
Hold on real quick. Before we switch subjects, I just want to talk about the purses that were made for that fight. Forbes and Bloody Elbow were reporting the purses. Chocolatito got
$500,000.
Yeah, it was 600,000, and then Kit Kat got 170,000. First time Kit Kat fought Chocolatito, he only got 75K, so more than twice.
Mention another pound for pounder that makes half a fucking mil. They get him cheap.
What was Timothy Bradley? Timothy Bradley was pound for pound 10. I think when he fought Devin Alexander.
What, you crazy? Timothy Bradley made 1.2 for Devin Alexander, plus got a mandatory another 1.2 on HBO when he fought Casa Mayor, and then he signed a top rank and got 6 for the fucking Pacquiao fight. So
what about Nonito Donaire? What about Nonito Donaire when he decapitated Fernando Montiel? Wasn't he still like in the 750K range?
Wait, listen.
Yeah, because I remember Bob Aaron talking about it.
Just counter that. Let me just counter that. I'm not 100% sure. You're the producer, right? My only counter to that is going to be this. Remember that Rigo, as the B-side to the Nonito fight, got 750. So how the fuck isn't Nonito making a mil? Stop it. But that's not the point. That's not the point. The point that I'm trying to make is
you just skirt my
point. You are a network that is known for boxing. You can say what you want. You can say what you want. Listen to the telecast last night, and you'll hear Jim Lampley and Max Kellerman saying one thing, and then you hear Andre Ward saying something else. Like, oh, wait a minute. They were trying to say that Kit Kat wasn't looking good at first. And Andre Ward is like, no, wait a minute. Go ahead, Matt. You fucking talk. What?
No, I was agreeing with you. I
can't hear you if we're talking at the same time. And I'm not even trying to be mean or sarcastic. Literally, because you're in a whole nother fucking state. You get that?
I'm sorry.
No, I couldn't hear you because I was talking. What'd you say?
I was saying that Kit Kat was winning all the rounds. Like, I don't think I gave a single round to Gonzalez.
But you had Max Kellerman and fucking Jim Lampley fluffing his balls, and the only one down to earth was like, well, I see this and this and this was Andre Ward. It's what I'm saying, bro. When you're the network, you have the power, and you have the shrinking budget. Why not? What other pound for pounder are you gonna get on your fucking network for 500,000? All I'm saying, you can't get Andre Ward for 500,000. You can't get Terrence Crawford for 500,000. Not Pacquiao, not Errol Spence, nobody. And I'm not saying Errol Spence is on the list. I'm just saying you ain't getting it. That so yeah. To the casuals, hell, he's pound for pound. He's pound for pound. They're gonna tell you. Could someone like Matt fucking make a case because he jumped in a bunch of divisions we never fucking heard of? Yeah. But they got him cheap. It reminds me of that scene from Coming to America. He got him cheap. Man, you can't get no real pound for pounder for that price, so they're going to make it up.
No, I
make it up.
Very quickly. Him getting paid 600,000, which let's all agree that Lomachenko got paid. I think it was 750 or 700,000 against Mariaga.
On what? On what? His 7th fight in a tune-up? Your boy just got 600,000.
Hold on. Can you just cut me off? I thought we weren't going to talk over each other.
I thought we were cutting off. I don't know. That's what you like. A knife.
But him getting paid 600K doesn't disprove that he was or is pound for pound. I think that has little to do with that.
Maybe.
What you are getting paid has nothing to do with your skill and who you beat and your resume and your legacy.
I mean,
because some guys like Pernell Whitaker, I don't mean to cut you off, but Pernell Whitaker wasn't paid a lot, but we all know Pernell Whitaker is one of the best in his era, right?
Same thing with Winky Wright. Hey, and Lomachenko did get 750K versus Mariaga.
Different era. Come on, bro.
But this is a different division.
And HBO had a different budget. That's my point. The whole point of this conversation is the budget, the shrinking budget, the inability to get their big name fighters. The fact that people were jumping ship. They had to invent something. Stop it, man.
I would not say invent.
All right.
I just would not. I would highly disagree with that. There are tons of guys in those lower weight classes that have made it to the Hall of Fame.
Listen,
that have legendary careers that people like maybe you and casuals don't like or don't care about. That's fine. I know it's a little bit of you are a 6'5", 230-pound guy. You cannot personally connect to a guy that's 115 pounds fighting. I am a 5'9", 130-pound dude. I can personally connect to those guys better than you can.
Well, you guys should be with Canelo on the 24/7, hanging out with fucking jockeys that ride horses. Then, all right.
Well,
division.
And let me finish my point very fast. I don't like the heavyweight division, for example. I hate watching heavyweight fights because I think they're slow, they lack cardio, they lack skill compared to other divisions. And then you come back and say, oh, well, they're knockouts. But again, that's because you have a natural, personal, biological bias towards the heavyweight fighters because you're a heavyweight. Small people like the small fighters. Like, I'm sorry, like that's just a fact. So there is a market for it. It's just a smaller market than, let's say, the heavyweight market. And that's fine. But there is a market there, and it does not disprove or discredit their pound-for-pound legitimacy or what those divisions have produced in terms of legends and Hall of Fame talent.
Yo, I got a segue. Get this. Cuadras made $62,000, and Estrada made $65,000. Are we going to talk about Michael Buffer making a slip?
Yo, Steve Harvey 2.0.
Yo, Buffer probably...
Hold on a minute. Let's just go back to my theory there. They've been feeding us how Estrada, they've been telling us how good he is, and boom, now they got him. And you're telling me this kid, they got him for $65,000. Think about what the fuck I'm saying to y'all, man. Don't be dumb, man. Come on.
Okay, let's...
For a lot of people, $62,000 for a fight is good. I mean, Alexander Brand fought... Hold on. Alexander Brand, Mariaga, there's tons of examples of guys that fought pound-for-pound level talent. In your opinion, Ness, that got paid way less than that. So to get paid close to six figures for a fight when you're 115, 112 pounds, yeah, I'll take that.
You have to be that close, Steven. We don't need to see your boogers right now.
This is the only way I can get close enough to the mic. Yo, Kit Kat made $170K. I bet you that goes a long way in Thailand.
Yo, Kit Kat is not even a fucking... He's not even a legit dude, all right? Let me finish, Matt. Mr. Cutoff Matt. If you Google fucking Surin whatever, he don't even got a box reg. It says alias. And
no.
His other name is with W's and shit.
You know, that's like every Thai fighter does that, right?
Dude, I'm joking, bro. I mean, I know. I mean, it's literally there, but I wouldn't care why his name is Kit Kat on cable and on box rec. It's WWF. I don't care. I'm going to tell you what his name is. Oh, my God. Look at this. Oh, man. Let me get Jeffrey better. Jeffrey's better. Jeffrey.
Advertisement Wizixel Wongjek.
There you go.
I like the advertisement at the beginning.
Yeah, not the advertisement at the beginning. What do you say? Wizzle check, long check, something like that. And it's funny because his other name is not even there. It's just this.
Yo, but it's not an alias though. You can see his face on the picture. So
no. But if you follow the link from Google, it says alias. But whatever. I mean, look, I wanted to give Matt this round of applause for him and all the hardcore listeners out there. I'm sure they're like happy and shit. They're like, this butt's for Matt. Yeah, Matt. Because I don't think we've ever talked about that kind of division for 3 minutes, bro. I've been trying to get the Pacquiao horn for mad long ago, but here's Matt, burning candles for these guys.
Let's not forget Pacquiao was a 115-pounder once upon a time.
And no one cared back then, really.
It doesn't matter. He was...
Only you. No, but not all jokes aside. Horn is not going to be fighting Pacquiao now, I'm told. It's so many different rumors attached to this. There's rumors of Bradley Skeet possibly fighting and also not fighting. There's rumors of Mundine trying to get the fight. And then there's spring rumors of Crawford and him actually his next fight being at 147. What do you guys think about the whole Pacquiao Horn rematch being off and or possibilities? Do you think that the old Bob father would slip in a Terrence Crawford Horn first defense?
The only thing that makes sense if that was to happen is if Bob Arum's plans to get Crawford versus Pacquiao for sure to happen. Because maybe Bob's worried about Jeff Horn beating Pacquiao. So his way of circumventing that possibility is have Crawford fight Horn first. And I think most people would pick Crawford to pick Horn, including probably Bob Arum. And then we get the fight that I think Bob Arum and Top Rank were sort of working to and marinating, unfortunately, for a while. That's the only thing that makes sense if that were to happen. I'm overall kind of happy that the fight's not happening. And I think that we may get even to the point where Pacquiao just steps away from the sport. That may be a possibility that I know not a lot of people are talking about, but I know he's becoming a lot more active within the government. The government itself has sort of devolved in a state under the Philippine government, under their current president, Duarte. So there's a lot of issues going on there. So I think we may see Pacquiao just slowly fade away from boxing if this rematch doesn't happen within the next, I would say, 9 months. If this doesn't happen the first half of 2018, I'd say we should be concerned about whether Pacquiao is actually fighting again.
I really like the rumors of Jeff Horn versus Jesse Vargas. I would like to see that fight. I think Jesse Vargas, his style, his
report though that that was off as well on Boxing Scene, but I did like that, and I thought it was a normal, like an easy Top Rank fix, Steven, you know, something they would do. I mean, it'll be, you know, Top Rank.
Yeah, and then you could just have Crawford come up and fight that winner, or you get him intro to the welterweight division on the. You can't put him on the undercard of that fight. Maybe you get him another fight, and you put those two on the undercard. Because I'm not sure if Jeff Horn, Jesse Vargas sells by itself as a main event. You could, but it would be kind of tough.
And I don't think you want to make that. I don't think Jesse Vargas is the guy that you want in there with Jeff Horn. Because let's say Jesse Vargas beats Jeff Horn, then what? Jesse Vargas is supposed to fight Pacquiao next?
Or like that, Jesse Vargas fights Crawford, and that's a good setup for Crawford fighting Jesse Vargas.
Then why not keep Jeff Horn as a commodity for Crawford? That makes more sense. Because if you lose Jeff Horn in the Australian market, it's just like the UK market right now. You lose a potential 55,000 seat stadium. So Crawford versus Horn would maybe be bigger. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, but that's the thing. Would they buy that over there? Would Australia say, yeah, we'll do Crawford Horn?
Maybe not 55, but they would definitely do like a 30,000, I would say, at least.
Yeah, you know, you let Jeff Horn fight Jesse Vargas, and if he wins, it makes his stock even that much higher, which makes it a bigger fight for Crawford. You look at like a Joe Smith. Yeah, but look at Joe Smith, all right? So Joe Smith beats Fonfara. If Pereira beat Joe Smith immediately after that, it would be an okay fight. But Joe Smith was coming off not just that, but beating a legend in Bernard Hopkins. So he has the Fonfara win, the Bernard Hopkins wins, and then losing to Pereira. Now Pereira's back in a big way. You do kind of the same thing here. Jeff Horn beats a legend in Manny Pacquiao, sort of fading. Then he beats another good prime current fighter. And then that makes it a really big fight against Crawford for the title.
It legitimizes Horn if he could get past Vargas.
I think the win over Pacquiao has already legitimized him in a lot of ways because now we can.
Casual.
I don't think so. Time out. Let me finish my thought. I think it legitimizes us talking about him being a contender or a guy that's in the mix in that top of that welterweight division. Before it was a joke. It was like, oh, Jeff Horn, you know, the Manny Pacquiao taking that joke fight. Now we take Jeff Horn seriously. Now people are like Earl Spence versus Jeff Horn, Keith Thurman versus Jeff Horn.
Well,
now we take him
not because the fight was competitive, just because this is where we're at. We're in a place where he got a controversial win, so we have to move on. But it's not because we're happy and Jeff Horn did what he did.
I'm not saying we're happy, but I'm just saying we are talking about him with these guys. Therefore, we legitimize his standing.
We're only talking about him because he has the belt. Because
he beat Pacquiao.
No, he needs to
away the belt. You can take away the belt. Take away the belt. You get in the same
definitively.
Let me finish my question because you keep talking about me cutting people off, and you guys keep cutting me off. Okay, you take away the belt and you give him that W in the same fashion, the same decision. He is still talked about with these other fighters.
No, he's not.
Because he beat Pacquiao.
No, he's not.
People think that there's maybe some bleed over with fandom and interest. And
no, there's an
argument for that. Jeff Horn numbers do good now online. They do.
Lies.
What do you mean lies? He does do good numbers. When there's interviews with Jeff Horn, They do good numbers on our channel.
Lies.
And on channels.
Lies. No one wants fucking Jeff Horn
And that's not
versus
because
Earl
of the WBO
Spence
belt.
unless he has that belt. Get out of here, bro.
It has nothing to do with the belt.
I think
the Manny Pacquiao win.
I think that the fact that he has that win over Pacquiao and it's controversial, I think if it wasn't for the belt, it'd be easy to forget about Jeff Horn and be like, oh, but the fact that he's a title holder keeps him, I think, on the radar for a lot of welterweights right now who don't have a title and want one, a lot of titleists who have a title and want to unify. I think if he would have just beat Pacquiao, I don't think a lot of people would have been like, I want to beat the guy who beat Pacquiao. They'd be like, no, okay, now I want my turn at Pacquiao. I think it would be something like that.
That's right. Steven, so happy to have you back, man.
I disagree. I again, Timothy Bradley had a belt, and we forgot about him.
Bullshit, because he fought Provodnikov right after that, and his stock shot the fuck up after that.
Yeah, but it was because of that fight. Hold on.
Forgot about Tim Bradley. That was a bad example. No one forgot about Tim Bradley.
Everyone hated him. You don't see people hating Jeff Horn.
I definitely remember a lot of people hating Timothy Bradley, but we didn't forget about him.
Timothy Bradley fight again after that fight.
Yeah, but you know what? But then he had fight of the year. But you know what? But then he had a fight of the year.
I know, I understand that, Steven, but we're talking about the time before that fight. We're talking about the time right after the win that was very controversial and probably more controversial than the Jeff Horn fight against Pacquiao. And I would say that the interest in Bradley was much lower post that win than Horn's interest post this win.
That's why you give Horn.
I could be wrong, but that's my opinion. That's
why you give Horn Jesse Vargas, so we could have a fight of the year type fight against, and then his stock is legitimized, and then you fight him against Crawford. That makes it a huge fight.
Was the Provodnikov fight legitimizing for him, or was it the Marquez fight?
No, fuck yeah. I think the to me the Provodnikov fight was because I was a hater of Timothy Bradley.
Oh, we're so off topic. Like all we needed to know was, what fights were good with Horn, and we're here into this legitimizing Horn in his career.
Why are you hating, man?
I'm just saying, bro, there's controversy behind it. That's why people were accepting the rematch. You're trying to make him out to be Keith Thurman and Earl Spence on that level. And
I'm not saying he's at that level, but we talk about him like it's legitimate.
You do.
No, I think everyone's sort of.
You were the only one talking about him before he got the fight. You were happy. You
No, it wasn't. Whoa. Time the fuck out. You and everyone knows I hated the Manny Pacquiao Jeff Horn fight before the fight. I talked so much shit on it. You can't come in here and lie like that. Sit down, stay in your lane. Okay. The fight I want for Jeff Horn next is Crawford, because Crawford needs that fight. He needs that belt because apparently it matters so much to people. So go get that belt. Who cares about Jesse Vargas? Who cares? Crawford's the man. So Crawford, go beat Jeff Horn, and then go reign at welterweight.
Yo, are we gonna talk about the David Benavidez fight against Ronald? Yeah,
we'll get to those. We're gonna get to all the undercards because we still got to talk Estrada and Cuadras. But let's get to this bigger news here. I know I was away, but Joshua's actually fighting Pulev. For all the hype, I think it was the hipster too. You continue to be wrong, right? Even though you just sounded right a few seconds ago. I remember us doing a Anthony Joshua Pulev show, and you were, dead set on how this wasn't going to happen in October, and Pulev's team, they didn't want it, and but
I was not dead set on it.
That happened pretty quick, huh?
I was saying that if Pulev's words are true, that he does not want to fight for 5 months, then it doesn't make sense for him to fight on October. Unless
when's this fight happening?
Hold on, time out. Let me finish, because I want to make sure.
I just want to know when's this happening.
You are quoting me correctly here.
When is it happening?
I think that I said that if this is a negotiation tactic, then they're probably going to offer Pulev more money. We're going to get the fight in October. If that doesn't happen, then we're not going to get that fight, and Joshua's going to fight someone else.
ESPN is reporting that the fight will happen October 28th.
Yes. And now, do I care if my pseudo prediction was wrong? No, I don't care, because it wasn't like it. It's a prediction on shit that doesn't matter.
Well, I'm happy the fight's happening, and I'm happy to see that there's a lot of Anthony Joshua headlines saying he wants the winner of Wilder and Ortiz. I haven't bothered to read them, But have you?
No, I've not read them. Because again, it's like when Eddie Hearn talks. Like when any like dominant ace side talks about what they're going to do next, I really don't take it for face value. I try not to, at least.
No, I tried to listen when the A sides talk.
No, I don't.
I don't know, man. I think it's also just like because if you saw that as a link, you would click on that, and then you would also read that he's fighting Pulev. So putting Wilder's name out there for your next fight, your following fight, it might generate interest in your scheduled fight.
True. Speaking of,
yo, shout out to Bermain Stavern though for taking a Brazil fight to allow Wilder to fight Ortiz though.
Yeah, I'm actually now interested in that fight, right? Like, see, that's what Bermain didn't understand. No one was interested in Bermain versus Wilder, but Bermain versus Brazil, I'm interested in for two reasons. One, like we were just talking with Horn and Pacquiao, legitimizing, earn your shot. Give the fans a reason to say, well, he did fight Brazil. Brazil did beat up Azunu, And if Brazil wins, he becomes that quote-unquote mandatory, and he gets that payback, and there's a storyline. But he'll have to wait, obviously, because, plans are for unifications. But we've seen stranger things happen where unifications don't happen. And now there isn't anything official on this Wilder Ortiz, but it seems like that's what's happening, right?
Yes. I mean, all signs indicate from sources and such that is what is next. And I tend to think that camp is starting soon for Wilder. I think it's starting in maybe September. And I think this fight's happening. I mean, even Luis Ortiz's manager said, if we're not getting Joshua, we're fighting Wilder. So both camps, Wilder's and Ortiz's camp, said, if Ortiz does not fight Joshua, that is the fight that we are making.
Yeah.
And I think they're just waiting on some sort of official announcement, crossing the T's, dotting the I's. Simple thing.
Going to the press conference. I wonder if it's going to be in Alabama or whether you think they're going to do it in New York since it's a Barclays Center fight.
If it's at the Barclays Center, then I almost guarantee the press conference will be at the Barclays Center. They're going to hold like the Brooklyn boxing gloves and everything,
If they do it in Brooklyn, then I'll let Adam do it. I'll stay not interested.
Yeah, everything I'm looking up for the announcement of Wilder versus Ortiz, it's all like from about a week back. But I am seeing like stuff that say like this. ESPN's Dan Rafael reports that sources with knowledge of the situation says that Wilder, Stavern, and the WBC are nearly done ironing out the agreement, which will not only remove Stavern as a roadblock for Wilder Ortiz, but will have Stavern fight on the undercard. So it seems like that is the way that they're going. Let's all keep our fingers crossed that that'll go through, because that'll be a really great card.
Yes, it is. Speaking of great cards, we have some other things on the docket, and we still have a couple of minutes before we open up these phones lines. So we're going to try and step on the gas here, because while I was away, there was also another great card that got announced that has me excited. There's a bit of a dud on it, but I guess it's a necessary evil. They're showcasing 6 fighters in the junior middleweight division, starting with one of the best, Islandri Lara. He's going to be defending his title versus.
By the way,
excuse me.
You said starting. I just wanted to reiterate that that's the main event.
Okay,
just so it's clear to our audience. That's all.
Wow, Laura's the main event then.
Yes, Laura's the main event.
Wow.
Yeah, I can't wait to get into that.
Why do they keep doing that to Charlo? I mean, and I wonder how much he's getting paid. He only got $100,000 for Hatley, bro. I mean,
and this is a more significant fight, so he should be getting.
I don't know. It's the same situation again. It's kind of a mandatory. I mean, the poor kid. When does he get a voluntary, right? Like, he was mandatory defense with Hatley. Now he's mandatory defense with Erickson Lubin. Like, when does he get a little money fight here? Gone are those days, huh?
I mean, maybe the money fight is a unification with either Jarrett Hurd, Austin Trout, the winner of that fight, or Andrade. I mean, that's a possibility that those are the money fights. Those are next.
There's definitely not a lot of big money fight names in the division. There are names that are good fighters.
About that.
With
100%.
Canelo gone, there is no money fight. But can you imagine that he would have to fight Trout if Trout beats Hurd? Because then it would be like, yo, my brother beat you. I have to beat you.
And very quickly, I really want to address the fact that Laura and Gashao are the fucking main event.
Whoa. I thought it was Terrell Geisha or Geisha.
Gausha? I want to go Gausha.
I don't know how to pronounce his name.
Man, get your Jeffrey on it. Wow.
Get your Jeffrey on. You get Jeffrey out. Come on.
I butchered him right there.
I butchered the hipster names anyways. It
I
doesn't
feel like
matter.
you, man. I feel like you. I don't understand how that got main event status.
And like you said, Charlo has so much star power, like natural star power. The fact that Showtime really isn't pushing them.
Did you see that face off?
And Al Heyman doesn't push them. PBC doesn't push the Charlos. Those guys need to be everywhere. Those guys need to be. I put it this way. I think I said this on Twitter or something like that. That Showtime/PBC needs to do a weekly web series that's 5 to 6 minutes, maybe 8 minutes long.
They are doing that. It's called PBC Jabs. They check in with all the fighters.
Different though. PBC Jabs
is it
on? Maybe Showtime needs to do it then. Maybe it's not PBC. Maybe Showtime needs to do it because Showtime has a bigger, I would say, audience, right? On YouTube, I would say so.
Let me get Jeffrey on this whenever you're ready.
You go. Go for
it. And just to say, this guy, with no disrespect at all, but this is a serious fight for him.
Terrell Gausha.
But back to my point, the fact that Charlo is so easily sellable and promotable. You put him in Houston helping out with the what?
How is he so easily sellable and promotable?
Can you let me finish my thought then, and I will tell you why that he is, because I'm about to go into it. With what's going on in Houston and him training in Houston, being from Houston, you easily throw him in there with the relief effort, and you blast that on every CBS football game that you have, because obviously the relationship of CBS and Showtime. That's an easy sellable, promotable aspect of him. Then you have him being a young African American, being from the South. You can throw him in there with any Atlanta rap group on stage and promote it that way as well, or do all of them. And you can promote him to a younger audience that's really not invested into boxing. He is promotable. He says the right things. Both of them do. Both Charlo brothers are probably the youngest guys that are promotable, that aren't being pushed the right way. And I think with what is happening in Houston, where they are located, their age, their ethnicity, they can easily sell these guys to a wider audience and make them stars. Without them resorting to the Adrian Broner caricature, I would say.
Matt, so first of all, Charlo made 100K versus Hatley in his last fight. I can't imagine him making more than maybe 250 then, probably, against Rubin. And talking about what you said about what's going on in Houston, do you think that any promoter, any of the promoters will consider maybe doing some type of benefit type fight for Charlo there? So this way, the proceeds go towards that. Maybe it puts you in the national spotlight, and it gets, you can kind of capitalize on what's going on over there in terms of marketability for them, like how you're saying, but also just hey, I'm going to fight, and also give him a bigger purse so he could give half of it to charity.
Here's what you do.
Can I chime in and bust Matt's bubble already? Because you guys are going back and forth on this fake, publicity stunt.
Not a fake publicity stunt. It's just
it is a publicity stunt.
You can help out people and be about it, and still have a camera there and record it.
Yeah, for his benefit.
Yes.
So it's a publicity stunt.
Things can be mutually beneficial.
All right. Moving on. Busting your bubble, right? We had another guy in an even more serious, well, not more serious, that was definitely wrong choice of words, right? We had a similar situation with Daniel Jacobs. And his pay-per-view numbers did what? 170? So there's no indication that this campaign that you want to go on with Jermell Charlo is going to work in helping his stardom, because they've been pushing Daniel Jacobs way before the Gennady Golovkin fight too. He's been on buses in New York City, on billboards, Then he became the Brooklyn boxing ambassador. And then he got the Gennady Golovkin fight, which added more promotion to his name. And let's not forget what those numbers did in terms of pay-per-view buys, which are an indication of your stardom. So to say that, Charlo can go and hang out with Young Jeezy and, go to Houston and jump in a boat and save a cat off a tree and everything will be good. No, I think that's bullshit. And
I don't think it's bullshit at all.
It would be misleading anyway. Like, if
I don't know why it's misleading.
Genuinely, because I'm going to tell you, there was a UFC guy, and I don't watch it. But when something is genuine and organic and is from God, it is spread out. Where someone like myself who doesn't watch UFC is forced to watch it. So this UFC guy wasn't trying to get no fucking publicity,
but it was retweeted.
He got
hold on. It was
that because I burst your bubble and you're wrong on your
I'm bringing counterfacts to your argument. Don't get so triggered by it. Okay, relax.
I'm triggered. You don't want me to finish my train of thoughts ever.
No, you were talking for a while. Let me cut in here and
I'm talking for a while because I hit you where it hurts.
Relax there. Relax. Ness, take a Xanax or something. Take a hit of that joint. Relax. Derek Lewis, the UFC fighter that you bring up and you didn't even know his name.
Wow, me too.
That's fine. He lives in Houston, just like some other fighters, just like some other rappers who have partaked in the relief effort. And there's been tons of videos online that have gone viral. Who has retweeted them? Who has posted those videos and ripped those videos and posted them on their own social media accounts? The UFC has. The UFC has. Is that disingenuous? Is that a publicity stunt now? No, it's not. That's just being the smart promoter.
I mean, Matt is crazy. Is that being? Of course, it's not being disingenuous. They're retweeting, like you said. You're talking about setting it up for the Charlo. I mean, again, we're getting stuck. It doesn't matter. That card. We're talking about the fact that Isran Laura and Terrell Geisha are the main event. None of us are happy with it. We are happy with the co-main event. One of them, Lubin, Charlo, dangerous fight. I love what Lubin said. He was like, because guys like you and I and our callers and listeners, we all have said it. Is he too young or he's too young? And he answered that in the post-fight. I mean, in the press conference, and he said, he brought up obviously Mike Tyson, and now look, we got Benavidez, right? So, I mean, what are your guys' overall thoughts before this fight was ever official? We have flirted with that phrase. Is it too soon? I mean, now that it's official, is it too soon?
I thought it was too soon.
Quick.
Too soon about what though specifically? I don't understand the question. Perhaps
to be here, because a lot of
like a Gervonta Davis, like he was too soon to fight Pedraza, like that sort of thing.
I mean, right. It's just like you look at Lubin and you think we got this great talent. And if he doesn't beat Charlo, does this damage him, right? Is it too soon, I guess? I mean, that's the best I can explain it, right?
No.
Is it too early?
I thought you were talking about David Benavidez, not Lubin. Sorry, I thought you were talking about David Benavidez, not Lubin, because you brought up Benavidez up. But no, I don't think Lubin's too soon. I think he probably could have another fight or two before it. But then again, I could have said the same thing about Earl Spence. That I would have liked to see him fight one or two more guys that would have given him a couple more looks before he fought Del Brook.
Yeah, but I think the Earl Spence example is kind of like, we did see him fight Algieri, who had fought Khan, who had fought Provodnikov, who had fought, he at least had Emmanuel Taylor, and Pacquiao, whatever, and so on. He at least had like a lot of recognition as being like, a tough guy who no one was able to really knock out. So that kind of was a good fight for Spence first. And then you look at Bundu. Bundu, another really good fighter. I mean, we'd seen, I think, more from Spence at that point, whereas Lubin, I mean, hardcores would know who he fought, mostly because they saw him fight him live. I don't really see there's nothing here in his resume that tells me, oh, yeah, dude, seeing him beat that guy? Yeah, he totally has a good chance against Charlo. It's like at that point, you're going off of an eye test, I think, which I think if you're going to be fighting a Charlo-type champion, you're going to need more than an eye test.
Yeah, man. This reminds me when Jamal was being tested versus Julian Williams. But I think that even Julian Williams, we seen a little more from Williams than we have from Lubin.
Vance Monterosen. J-Rock fought Vance Monterosen, right? Did he not?
I'm not sure. I thought he fought Michael Soro.
Oh, it might be Michael Soro. Sorry, it might be Michael Soro. Michael Soro was a legit top 15, top 20 junior middleweight. I can't really say there's a top 20 junior middleweight on Lubin's resume. Can you? I can't.
I don't look. That's the thing. I mean, but it is an intriguing fight.
Because we're all high on Lubin. We all thought Lubin was gonna get to this point eventually.
Yeah, and he got those Prospect of the Year awards from a bunch of people. Yeah. So, I mean, hey man, I love what he said. He said in the press conference as well. He said, "There's new twins in the junior middleweight division, right?" And remember that the Charlos obviously were once upon a time in that same division. And he said Jack and Sledge, his fist. I mean, the kid's a talker. He's a talker. He's built for this. And we've seen people on this stage and not be able to say the right things. I mean, obviously that doesn't win you fights, but shit, it sure does help. It wins you fans.
Yeah, and Julian Williams, he definitely had like more on his resume. He definitely had more to show. From like lower division type guys like Joaquim Alcine to like Hugo Consenso Jr. You know what I mean?
Draw with Centennial, but everyone thought he beat Centennial. And look at what Centennial was able to do to
and then Luciano, what's his dude? Luciano Cuello? Yeah, Cuello. Luciano Cuello. Remember, he hadn't been stopped before, but J-Rock was able to stop him. And I think he even fought guys like Canelo, who wasn't able to
guys like that on Lubin's resume, like Cota, the guy he just fought, Jorge Cota. He wasn't stopped before that fight, I believe. I think he was undefeated as well.
But was he fighting a type? Did he have experience against a quality opponent as Canelo Alvarez and Surratt?
But again, I'm just saying that you can throw in fighter X has never been stopped. Yeah, that doesn't mean everything. That's a very limited view of a fighter and what they bring to the table and what look they give for a guy.
Yeah. That's just a selling point for the networks, man. But Austin Trout, Jarrett Hurd.
Great fight.
Watching this press conference and all of the fighters, Jarrett Hurd towers over all of them. And I couldn't help but feel bad for Austin Trout because I feel like, shit, here he is again in another Jamal Charlo situation where he's up against a guy that's just physically bigger than him.
But Jarrett Hurd doesn't really use that height and that reach to his advantage, I would say.
Yeah, but if you
Jarrett Hurd's a very frustrating guy to watch because he doesn't use his tools.
But if you watch the interview that Adam Spielberg, our New York correspondent, did with Jarrett Hurd asked for this fight. He wants to change his opinion of himself, especially when it comes to guys like you. Very interesting interview. Definitely check it out on our YouTube channel or theboxingvoice.com. It's interesting because he could have fought his mandatory, which was a guy no one ever heard of. You know what I mean? And here he is fighting Trout, a guy that, beat Miguel Cotto and had a good fight with Charlo and others. So I don't know, man. Maybe Hurd still hasn't shown us everything that he has.
Very true. But some guys are just limited. And like Lamont Peterson, I think, is always the perfect example of a guy that obviously you can watch him and go, this guy's very talented, but he's boxing in a way that's not advantageous to what his skill set is and what his natural tools are. I think Jarrett Hurd may be a guy sort of like that.
I really liked in Jarrett Hurd's fight against Tony Harrison, how even I thought he was losing that fight and he was kind of getting outboxed a lot. But I remember being impressed the fact that he was still dangerous later in the fight. He got a 9th round TKO. He really, like Matt said, didn't really use his tools so much. Like he could have made that fight easier for himself. But his power shone through when he needed it.
I don't know, Steven.
That is Tony Harrison. That is Tony Harrison.
Exactly. Don't forget Tony Harrison is chinny and gassy. So like a late knockout over Harrison, I don't know. Or should I say Kanye doesn't know?
We don't know.
But what else do we got? Usyk, Oleksandr Usyk.
Who looked awesome.
He did a marvelous job on Marco Huck. Man, that southpaw jab was just too much. It was too pesky. It was hard to get around, and he's got such good footwork. He gets out of the way of everything. I mean, Huck was lunging in, and he stopped him. You know, we questioned his power and the fact that when we seen him on HBO and in a couple other places, you know, he was taking guys the distance, and we didn't really know. He definitely sat down on his punches. Used that hook a lot, and he looked leaner, did he not? I thought he looked lean.
Yeah, he looked in shape.
Looked in good shape.
I'm also going to say this. Like you and maybe a lot of people, his last couple of performances on HBO were sort of like, not depressing, but they were like unimpressive. Anticlimactic. They were lackluster. He was just sort of in there going through the motions. And this fight, he seemed motivated in the ring. He was on the gas pedal from the first round on. And I remember watching and going, this is the version of Usyk that everyone, including me, have been talking about, that this guy's going to be the best cruiserweight, blah, blah, blah. That was the version we were talking about, was the one we saw on Saturday.
Do you think that's because of who was on the other side of the ring against him? He got up for this?
Absolutely. I think the idea of some fighters get up for fights and they don't get up for other ones, I think is completely accurate. We have a long history of that. But again, I want to know Ness's opinion on this, because I sort of still think the question of his power is valid. I think yes, Huck is a very durable guy. But if Usyk has this insane power like a Joshua, like a Deontay Wilder, like a Kovalev, for example, Donna Stevenson, I think we would see it more at the highest level, and we don't.
Who said that?
I know you have questioned his power. I know others have. Just others have questioned his power. Can we still question it after this fight? Because I think he was landing a ton of shots from the very first round, and it took a lot of punches for them to finally affect Huck. You know, and it was sort of a KO by accumulation more than it was a single punch knockout. You know, can we still say that this guy isn't the heaviest hitter? That he is not a Daniel Jacobs? That he doesn't have that one punch knockout power?
If he's gonna make him quit like that or stop him like that, that's all right. I mean, it's going a distance and not making it exciting. He was making this one exciting. You know what I mean? I think they're listening. I don't know. I thought Huck was durable, so I'm gonna give him credit for that knockout.
Yeah, I'm definitely gonna say that his power certainly isn't like one punch KO. Obviously, I think he's good power. I think he has good power for the division. I don't think he would have strong power at heavyweight. I think at heavyweight, if he were to move up, he would be one of those, technical heavyweights. His skill is what kind of helps open up and kind of like leave his opponents susceptible to getting caught with that good shot. But like you look at Globacki is a good, solid fighter. But I remember Marco Huck was able to like knock Globacki down early. He's one of those slow starter type of opponents. So I think if he would have been able to do something similar, I would have a little bit more faith in his knockout power. I really do think a lot of it has to do with the combination of his skill.
What do we think about the World Boxing Super Series? This was the first event. I was kind of not blown away by the production and everything, but I was happy with it. I thought it was amazing. The only thing I didn't like was the whole stream and that ended. I know for a lot of people that happened where like mid-fight it just said the live stream has ended. World Boxing Super Series, please fix that up. Please fix up your servers. I know a lot of people like Dan Rayfield couldn't get on, and when Dan Rayfield's pissed off about something, he goes on Twitter. You can't let that shit happen. If you're going to be streaming fights on your website, you got to clean that up. But overall, I thought it was amazing. I thought the production quality from the I think it was Hans Zimmer, the guy that has orchestra for all the movies like Braveheart and all that. I thought that was amazing. The lighting, the whole thing was just pretty awesome, in my opinion.
Hans Zimmer also did it for the score for PBC
and Man of Steel
and Dark Knight.
I was not happy that they didn't go to YouTube. I mean, if you're gonna do streaming and it's gonna be free, put it on YouTube.
Because then you have the Google.
It's the most reliable. And then the link wasn't accessible. It's just, I don't know. I
Agreed.
just cannot believe that HBO, who was invested in Usyk, didn't at least buy this one fight.
They might have put a bid on it. I mean, we don't know. I'm not saying they did. I'm saying they could have put a bid on it, and we just do not know.
Optimistic Matt when he wants to be.
But that's not being optimistic, because if they did put a bid on it, they didn't win it, obviously.
Yeah. So let's round up and get ready to open up the phone lines. We got Benavidez to talk about. He's now the youngest champion in boxing. A little controversial. Floyd Mayweather, obviously CEO, owner of Mayweather Promotions, was not happy that his fighter, Ronald Graville, lost a fight to Benavidez. What were your guys' thoughts on this fight? Benavidez went down in the 11th round, in the round that he was actually winning and doing some good work. He got caught, went down, flash knockdown, but or maybe a little more than a flash, right? He kind of got on his bike after that. But what was your thoughts on this fight? Matt, I'll start with you since you were so high on Benavidez.
Yes, I was. I remember.
Like a lot of us. I mean, Sean Zattel was on hand. He should be calling in, I think.
I remember I was texting Pittsburgh Brew, and I was on Twitter because we didn't have a show that day because you were stuck in Puerto Rico. Shout out to Hurricane Irma. So I was, I was feeling myself. I remember I tweeted before the fight started that David Benavidez beats everyone at super middleweight. Ramirez, DeGale. I said everyone, right?
And a little to drink had you, huh, Matt?
And then the fight happened. He struggled. He struggled mightily. And the thing is, did he just underestimate Gavil and go in there not really on the gas pedal at all in the first 6 rounds? Because the first 4 rounds at least, he barely threw a punch. It was like a Chavez Jr. versus Canelo sort of fight where he just had his hands up, was walking around, giving a smirk, and not doing anything. And yeah, Gabriel was touching him with jabs and stuff like that. None of them was affecting him. But you have to give those early rounds, at least the first 4 to 6 rounds, to Gabriel because he was at least doing something. Benavidez wasn't doing anything. So I really don't know what to think of this fight. We just talked about this, Steven, about how Usyk got up for the fight against Huck. Did Benavidez just not get up for this fight? I don't know. We saw Benavidez go out there and ice Porky Medina, and we saw what Porky Medina did to DeGale and Badu Jack. So I don't know really how to rate this showing of Benavidez compared to his other ones. But this is sort of a bounce back to reality that Benavidez, to me, needs to be taken down a couple, pegs. That I thought he was going to be the next guy, the super middleweight division. I got too ahead of myself. He's not that guy, obviously. He needs to work on some things. He needs to have better game plans, better boxing IQ, because his skills are there. His skills are there. Yes, it was a little bit sloppy at times, but again, I think that goes more into the boxing IQ, composure, game plan, which those 3 things were lacking in this fight. I have no issue with anyone thinking that Gabriel won and this was that he got robbed. I have no issue with that. I have no issue with anyone saying that Benavidez won. I think this is just one of those fights where because of the 10-point must system, because of that 10-8 round, this is a very hard fight to score. I've watched it 3 times now, and I've had different scorecards every time. So I'm not really upset by the scorecard. I'm understanding why people are, though. But Benavidez definitely needs a couple more fights before he goes in there with the top 5 guys or has unification. He's on that Gervonta Davis status. He's on a potential Lubin status if Lubin wins, where it's almost like, hey, yes, you got the win, but you're young. You still need a couple more fights before you go in there and unify and look to move up a division.
Well, obviously with Sean Zattel being on hand covering this fight and the Chocolatito fight, he spoke to Team Benavidez. I wanted to have him call in. If you see him, bring him on. But I'll give you all the tips that he gave us. And there is an immediate rematch in play. And that must be the power of Floyd Mayweather and Al Heyman. Obviously, they were not happy with the result. Leonard Otherby and obviously Floyd. I mean, Dewan Blake as well, very upset, which is over there in the Mayweather promotion. So they're going to be doing this one right away. And Benavidez already knows that, and he is willing, and so is the father. So they feel the way you feel, Matt, and they want to do the rematch to, I guess, erase the doubt.
Yeah, I think that's the smart move because Gavril definitely doesn't have the power, I would say, to put out Benavidez. Yes, he did put down Benavidez, but Benavidez was a little bit off balanced, and he came in there very wide, and it was just a flash knockdown. I think Benavidez should go in there and win pretty handedly in the rematch. And again, the power of Mayweather. This was a Mayweather card. J. Leon Love was back on television.
And
that happened. J. Leon Love was back on Showtime. That is the power of Mayweather to put anyone on television and give them anyone shine. So I'm not surprised at all that this rematch is happening. And Benavidez, being a very young boxer, has the time to take this rematch, and it makes sense.
Yeah, better this rematch than a tougher foe in the division. What else do we have? We have the undercards. We obviously have the NC Bank teller Antonio Nieves from Cleveland, who took on the monster Inoue. And Inoue did his thing in the the fourth round. He got a little bit on his toes, gave some lateral movement, those gears that I like to talk about. But for most of the fight, he was the come forward monster that they made him out to be. But the level of opposition, it has me wanting more. I am impressed. I'm always going to be impressed with anyone that can place their shots the way that he does and make them count. Those left hooks to the body were very entertaining to watch. Impressive for real, you don't really get to see much winning gear in a live fight. You see that more in the gyms for sparring. So that was also entertaining to see Inoue rocking the winning boxing gloves throughout this fight. But he's just technically he's very sound. Like I'm impressed, but I don't know how impressed to be. But actually, you guys don't chime in. Sean is there. We'll go backwards to Benavidez and call him late face. Sean Zattel in Las Vegas. What's going on, my friend?
Hey, what's going on, Ness? What's going on, fight fans? I'm actually coming back from Los Angeles right now, pulling into Las Vegas. Was at those great Chocolatito, Inoue, Estrada fights last night. So great weekend of boxing.
Well, talk to us about Benavidez, man.
Night,
I know that you visited Benavidez out in Big Bear. They allowed you to get into the camp for the Boxing Voice and, spend some time with him and watch him get prepared for this Ronald Graville fight from the TMT Promotions. So you have a little bit of insight, not only from being in camp, but also covering his fight Friday night. Where are you? Disappointed, upset? I mean, what were your overall thoughts with Benavidez and his performance?
I would say I'm disappointed. I have Benavidez along with Shakur Stevenson and Devin Haney as the three brightest 21 and under United States fighters coming from the United States. I still feel that way. I'm still very high on David because he is 20 years old and still was able to win the WBC title and become the youngest champion in the division's history. But he was expected by a lot of people to blow Graville out, and that's not what took place. He may actually have been a bit fortunate to get the decision. I thought because he got off to such a good start and won about the first 4 rounds cleanly, without dispute, that was enough to hold on to the points later on. But I thought he would take Graville out in 5 rounds. And Graville was a 800+ underdog, and maybe we jumped the gun just a little bit, and people like myself thinking he could be the cream of the crop of 168 as soon as 2 years or less. But now that I think he's got the belt, they could pump the brakes a little bit and treat him more like a normal 20-year-old who's about to be 21 than the the phenom I was touting him as, which I still think, like I said, he's going to be a tremendous fighter. And I talked to his father and David yesterday at the Sub Hub, was able to talk to them. They came for the Chocolatito fights and to enjoy the fights. And they both let me know that rematch is very, very, very likely. Jose Sr. Talked to Al on the phone yesterday, Saturday, and it sounds like that's the fight that everybody wants to go ahead and make from Al and Graville's side, which I guess would be DeJuan Blake and Floyd Mayweather. And David was all for it. So that's the fight he needs to take right now. And I think he can, wipe the bad taste out of the mouth of getting dropped in the 12th and it being a close fight with a guy. I think he could do in the second fight what he should have done and what a lot of us wanted him to do in the first fight, and that's knock Ronald Graville out.
Hey, Sean, so I saw your interview with him post-fight, and you asked him if he was 100%, and he mentioned a little bit of pain in his left hand. I know you were in the camp with him. Did he talk about, and during the camp, were there talks about this sort of issue?
Oh, no, they didn't talk about these issues while I was in Big Bear, and I saw David spar. Obviously, wasn't able to put it up. Sparring was private, and I thought he looked better in sparring than I saw him on the night. But I talked to his father right after the fight, and his father, I didn't even ask him. His father just on his own. If people listening want to go check out the interview on the Boxing Voice, our channel, he just said, I don't know what it was, but he was just sluggish tonight, off. I didn't see him fighting with the consistency every round, fighting in spurts. And he was like, I don't know what it was. He just said it was odd. He brought, like I said, he brought it up himself. I didn't even ask him. But he was very calm, and, we'll go, but it's things I'll just go back to the gym. We'll look at the tape and we'll look at what happened, because in a rematch, we'll destroy this guy. So, and, he said it very matter-of-factly, not braggadocious, but that's all I could tell you was exactly what his father told me right after the fight. Can't really put his finger on it, but he saw what I saw and what I'm sure you guys saw, which was a lackluster performance. Not the performance a lot of us thought we were going to get from David. But with that being said, he still won the fight, and at 20 years old, has the world title. So he's still sitting pretty.
Sean, so what were your thoughts? Because obviously the internet is undefeated, and now that Roman was knocked out, people are saying he was never pound for pound.
Okay, so if he wasn't number one pound for pound, he wasn't a great fighter, though? He wasn't top 5, at the very least, top 10 pound for pound? He's not a first ballot Hall of Famer, 4 division champion that beat top fighters like Valoria, Estrada, and Cuadras. Former champions in Estrada and in Valoria's case, guys who might be going to the Hall of Fame one day themselves. So, okay, all right, let's say he was the number one pound. I actually never thought he was not quite number one pound for pound myself. I thought he was top 5. But it's like to go from, okay, he was never number one pound for pound to now he was a hype job. Now he was an HBO hype job. It's like, motherfucker, he was 44-0 before he ever fucking fought on HBO. Just because some of us, myself included sometimes, aren't knowledgeable enough, passionate enough to go search out his world championship fights fought on the highest level at low weight classes, a lot of the time overseas, not in America, doesn't mean those fights didn't count. They're world, so, the guy's a first ballot Hall of Famer. He got knocked the fuck out against a bigger, stronger guy. He's 30 years old, which a lot of the time is ancient at super flyweight, especially when you've been in the wars he's been in. So, he got knocked out last night, but this is boxing. This is boxing, and that's part of the game. He went down swinging. He got up, and he didn't try to clinch, and he went down swinging. That's Roman Chocolatito Gonzalez. He's a great fighter, and he's going to the Hall of Fame. And his prime is over.
But, Sean,
it happens.
What about the argument that if you're pound for pound, you should be able to have gears, and if Kit Kat is punching you in the face, get on your toes.
Not the same Chocolatito Gonzalez after 46, 47 fights, a lot of them wars against top comp. He's in his 4th weight class against a guy who is just a naturally bigger guy who never fought below 115. I mean, I hear what you're saying, but I just think, You know, Roy Jones couldn't go to another gear once he got knocked out against Tarver. You know, everybody gets old,
But
man.
Tarver,
and
but
it happens at
Tarver,
different ages.
but isn't Tarver gonna go to the Hall of Fame? Is Kit Kat going to the Hall of Fame?
Wasn't Tarver on steroids?
Whoa, Matt! Come on.
Somebody's saying it. Somebody's saying it somewhere.
Mister, I don't want Sean to get his burn. Let Sean shine here.
What's up, Matt? I hope everything's going.
What's up, Sean? You're killing it. Keep killing it.
Shout out to Matt.
hey, Sean. You know what it is, right? You're giving the same argument that he's been giving all show.
Oh, am I? Okay.
Yeah.
Hey, man. Sometimes great minds think alike, right?
Yeah, it seems that way for today.
Man.
But what did you think of Inoue, man? Because he was fighting a bank teller from PNC.
Okay, I got real quick before we get to shit that actually matters about Inoue. You guys know the old Pharoah Monch song, Simon Says?
Yes.
I run to it every day.
He needs to just take the he needs to just take the instrumental and come out to that shit when he fights over here.
Dun, 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 dun.
Remember that's because here comes the monster swimming up on American shores like Godzilla to kill the. You know what I mean? So I just.
Oh my God, Matt! You got Matt over there, cherry red. He's never been happier than today.
Right? Like that's a great idea. So, or you can come out to the turn in Japanese and turn the whole fucking crowd Japanese when he fights. But that's a sillier one. But he should definitely come out to the Pharoah Monch song. Anyway, Inoue is the truth, man. Like his punching power was spectacular. Like you could hear his punches throughout the entire StubHub, and he's 115, and every punch had knockout power on it. And yeah, he was fighting a guy with no resistance, but I think he got him out of there in the 7th. Every shot had knockout on it, and at the last round or two, he just said fuck it and just broke through the guy's guard. He literally just started punching through his guard, and his power is so good that he just punched through his guard, got him out of there. We got to see him against the top fighters to see if he could do that kind of shit to them, but he looks like he's the goods, and he's so exciting. And unlike Lomachenko and Triple G and Kovalev, who came over there in their late 20s, early 30s, he's only 24. So he could really build his name and have tons of fights over here in America. I love the kid. I love Inoue.
And
I think he's Visai in a great fight. So, what was that?
I think he brought in fans too. There was a ton of Japanese people in the StubHub. I mean, it was Nicaraguans, and then it was Japanese people in terms of flags, who was out there showing, who was out there repping. There was a lot of people that, even if they weren't Japanese, they knew who Inoue was, and they came to see him. There was a ton of people I was talking to that were just hyped on Inoue's USA debut. So I mean, there is some market for that guy and those guys.
Absolutely. I think hardcore boxing fans is definitely a market for him, just like those other guys I talked about that HBO brought from overseas. And I think ideally you would match Inoue up in California with top Latino fighters. And you can, because all the Latino fans are so supportive, whether, like you said, it was Nicaraguan or Mexican fans last night. If you could find top guys like Estrada, Sor Rungvisai would be a different deal. But if you could fight, like Estrada and Inoue would sell out StubHub just like it was sold out last night.
Well, Estrada's actually going to be fighting. Sean. Estrada is supposed to be fighting. Yeah, Kit Kat. So, what do you think about Cuadras versus Inoue?
Cuadras and Inoue.
Yeah.
What do I think of Cuadras and Inoue? Yeah, I would think Inoue wins that fight. But it's a good fight. And
does it sell?
If anything, no. I mean, I think, yeah, you know what? It could do a main event at StubHub, but ideally, it would be the co-main event to Sor Rungvisai taking on Estrada, and then you have another kind of Superfly 2 card that we could have a great 2 fights at StubHub. I mean, ideally, I think it would even be cool to do Superfly 2, and if Roman wants to come back, he could maybe have a rematch with Cuadras and then you have
He's
a new
retired.
fight, another kind of showcase fight, and then Sor Rungvisai and Estrada is the main event, Superfly 2. But Anuye Quadras, that's a good fight. That's a really good fight for Anuye. But I think everybody would favor Anuye at this point.
Yeah, I'm down for all of those A sides on that card to just do round robin for the next 8 months.
Yeah, I don't see why they can't do a Superfly 2. With basically all, I mean, the only difference would be, Roman might want to take a year, or I don't know if he'd even, who knows what's going to happen with Gonzalez now, but
he's retired.
Yeah, like I said, Anuye. Oh, he's retired?
Nez is talking shit, yo.
Who said that? Oh, okay, yeah. Nah, I mean,
he could.
I mean, maybe he drops down to 112, but yeah, it's just like with Miguel Cotto right now. He looked good in his last fight, and he could keep fighting if he wants because he's still good enough to give guys run for their money. But this shit is no game, man. I don't think after you take a lot of lumps, we've seen what happens to 90% of fighters over the years. They wind up with their brains damaged. So Gonzalez should consider retirement.
Exactly, Sean.
I mean, he could. Yeah.
I know you were traveling a lot, putting in a lot of work. So if I'd be surprised if you watched Usyk, but have you had the opportunity to watch Oleksandr Usyk versus Marco Huck?
No, but I know he stopped him in the 10th round. Is that right?
Yep. In impressive fashion. Just wanted your take.
I gotta watch it because I have to watch it when I get in the house right now. But when I saw Usyk against Michael Hunter, I don't know about you guys, but I wasn't blown away like I was told I was going to be.
Yeah, no, he stepped it up this fight. He stepped it up this fight. He was impressive for sure. I guess last thing is they're saying no more Pacquiao Horn, and now they're saying like Pacquiao, Gary Cochran, Bradley Skeet.
Pacquiao, Jeff Horn.
Yeah, that's right. Jeff Horn. So what do you think about this Jeff Horn no more Pacquiao situation and the possibilities of who he may or may not fight? I mean, we heard rumors of even Jesse Vargas, Bradley Skeet. I mean, even some headlines with Earl Spence, but even though that ain't happening. But what do you think is next for the old Jeffy?
Well, I don't think it draws much interest from people unless he's fighting a top fighter. He's just if they put him in there with a Skeet or a Coughlin, guys that where it's his job to be the top fighter and to showcase. I don't think anyone's really interested in that. I think a fight with Jesse Vargas is interesting. Obviously, the fight people really wanted to see was a rematch with Pacquiao, but I would imagine Bob Arum is lining. If he's not going to rematch Pacquiao, Bob Arum's shaping him up to get him ready to feed him to Terrence Crawford in Terrence Crawford's debut. So if he's thinking of matching him with fighters like the ones you mentioned, that I think it's because those are fights he's going to win. So those are fights he's going to win, meaning he'll hold on to that WBO belt long enough for Crawford to move up and take it from him. So that's how I take the news that that's the guys they're considering as his opponent. And then if it's Jesse Vargas, obviously Top Rank would want to sign Jesse so that whoever wins that fight, again, they feed them to Terrence Crawford when he moves up to 147. But that's
is
my take
Jesse
on
a free agent now?
Those guys,
because you're on that side of the world. Is Jesse a free agent? Because we haven't seen him in anything since that Pacquiao fight. It seems like he's trying to wait his contract out, or he's out of his contract. What's up with that?
He was at the fights.
It's obvious that Arum, if he doesn't have some affiliation with Horn, is working on it in time for his next fight. I wouldn't have any privy information of that, but he's gone to several Top Rank events. Bob's talked about him plenty. Bob's talked about him maybe more than Manny Pacquiao since they fought. So no, I can't tell you, they have anything official going on, but it's pretty obvious to me that Bob Arum is after Jeff Horn, and he's captured much bigger horses to his stables than Jeff Horn.
I meant more Vargas. I meant more Vargas. Sean, you miss her. I meant.
Oh, Jesse.
Is he still?
Jesse, I have no news on. he's just right now. He's staying back and assessing his options. I'll try and get in touch with him today or tomorrow and maybe get an update on that. But right now, when we ask him about it, it's nothing. Everything's up in the air with Jesse Vargas, so I can't give any real update on him right now.
Well, Sean, we're going to go ahead and let you go, man. Get back to your Sunday. Always a pleasure to have you. Great work at the fights, as always. And you guys know where to find him. Sean, where can they get you on IG there?
Find me on Instagram at SeanTBV. Find me on Twitter on at Sean Zattel, and on Facebook, Sean Zattel. And real quick, I think Canelo beats Triple G, and I'm hearing that I'm in the minority heading into Saturday. So,
well,
just
Thursday,
in case for some reason I don't get a final pick in.
Okay. Yeah, because we would like that to be on Thursday's show. That would be interesting because you're right. You are in the minority with that when all the Triple G guys are coming out. I mean, I see AB in the chat. He's starting a week early. I see him trying to get his dib in. But listen, Sean, thanks for calling in. As always, great doing, being on the show and obviously the work that you're putting in over there. I think we touched on just about everything.
Real quick though, Sorry, I stepped away real quick. I don't know if you guys talked about it with Sean. Did you guys talk about the AB, Adrian Broner, and
no, we did not.
Broner knocking out a guy and shoving a woman on the Vegas Strip video?
I feel like we should at least mention it because it would be kind of,
Let's mention it. Adrian Broner is in another altercation. So far, no charges have been filed, but he has been a video has surfaced, him knocking out a gentleman cold and shoving the woman who was with him, who was probably trying to just calm him down. It's very hard to see. I don't know.
You can't make it out that it's him doing it. You hear people shouting that it's Adrian Broner or AB, but it's like if he can come up with an alibi, maybe he would be able to slip it. I know that he was taking pictures then.
I don't know why you would have multiple different people with different camera angles going, this is Adrian Broner, people shouting, yo, Adrian Broner's knocked out someone. I just don't get that, especially when he's a known person in Vegas.
Yo, no bullshit. I saw a Mike Tyson lookalike cause a storm in the MGM Grand on the Maypac weekend.
Maybe it happens. You're right, 100%. Obviously this is all alleged incident. This is a innocent until proven guilty sort of country, obviously. But Adrian Broner doing stupid shit. What the fuck? Come on, man. I really hope he just doesn't spiral down. I really hope this isn't a spiral because of the loss. That's all I hope and pray, because that would be very unfortunate.
Alleged Adrian Broner incidents.
Yes, alleged.
Alleged Adrian Broner incidents. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and open up these phone lines. We're going to go out to our sponsors, and then we'll get on the phone. So the number is 1-425-569-5241. Press 1 one time if you want to voice your opinion here on the Voice of the People hotline. International callers, you want to call in, absolutely free. Just add Nestor Gibbs on Skype. That's NESTORGIBBS.
These calls are brought to you by El Camino Electrical Services, experts in electric vehicle charging stations. For consultations and turnkey installation, visit us at elcaminoelectricalservices.com.
Let's see where we're going. Oh, we had a ringer and he dropped off. So we're going out to Amin in New Jersey. Talk to us.
Well, welcome back. Welcome back with another great show. I want to get right into it. I want to start with the Carlos Cuadras fight. And Cuadras always reminds me of a mini Canelo. He just off looks. I don't mean nothing to do with skills, but he looks like a tiny-ass Canelo. I thought that was a great fight. I thought I'm not sure if I was reading the tea leaves wrong, but that was an upset because Estrada definitely was countering his ass, and although Cuadras was landing the harder punches, he was doing too much early. I think he got himself winded going southpaw and switching back and forth. He was getting himself caught with too many punches, even though he was landing the power early. Him being fatigued, plus just wearing himself out. I think Estrada just definitely got the best of him in that particular fight. Good fight though. In a way, I don't know, man. I didn't know homeboy he fought was a bank teller, but at one point he stood in the ring and did some kind of Shooter-con nonsense where he stood and kind of bowed a little bit and waved him on, and I don't know. Maybe you can do that with that type of opponent, or maybe he's that good. I can't really tell. Chocolatito, what are we going to say about this guy? I mean, it's hard to discredit his ability, but when you have people like Letterman and Rayfield and Lampley and some of the hipsters putting this guy, go ahead.
I didn't say anything.
Okay. Yeah, when you got some of these guys putting him so high on that pound for pound, and then what happens to him, it almost just begs the question. I mean, Kovalev was supposed to be so high on the pound for pound, and all these guys are high on the pound for pound until, something happens. I think it's almost a case of, I'm not really doubting Chocolatito. I'm trying to be objective and maybe think it's more of a Vernon Forrest, Shane Mosley situation where one particular guy has your number. Although I think Shane Mosley Vernon Forrest is a hell of a lot more credible than Mr. Kit Kat. But it was an interesting fight. I think Chocolatito needs to look at, what he wants to do. 115 might be a little bit too heavy for him. It was a surprisingly interesting week of boxing. I know we got Kovalev coming in there with Shabaransky for his return. Man, listen, glad to hear the show back. I know you guys are going to keep it moving. That's my call.
Amen. Thanks for calling in.
Very quickly, ladies and gentlemen, if you do not know, you probably do not know, but I believe Alex Lemon, Mr. IG Master, did make a social media post about it. But TBV will be in Las Vegas doing a live show for Chivas Fight Gear or Chivas Regal, I believe.
Chivas Fight Club, the liquor. Yeah, so we'll be in the New York casino. And we'll give you more details. We'll be doing a live show from there. So anybody who's in town for the fight, for the Canelo Alvarez Triple G fight, definitely stop through. We're going to be having the WBC president, Mauricio Suleiman, stop through, as well as other fighters come through as well. So it'll be pre-fight Canelo and Triple G too. So you won't miss any festivities. You can come hang out with us and, I don't know, I guess buy Matt a drink. He breaks his diet all the time, little cheater.
Right. And it's on Saturday specifically. This is not our Thursday show, though we will be doing obviously a live show on Thursday. I assume if anyone is in town for the fight, please hit us up on social media. We can maybe arrange for you to be there. I know
the entire Boxing Voice will be out there from Thursday to Sunday. So check us out. Check us out.
Yes, we can go to the next caller, I believe, and that would be Jay Will from Ohio.
Really? Jay Will.
If you know like I know, you should lie low. I used to get it in Ohio.
Yeah. What's up, fellas? I like the little car. I like the car with the little guys last night, man. And to be honest, I'm not really a little guy watcher, so I was kind of pleasantly surprised. Now with the Chocolatito thing, man. I mean, if you watch boxing, if you're not a casual, if you can really assess someone's skill set, you can see Chocolatito is a gifted fighter, and he's gifted with his offensive skills. Now, he never was my top 5 pound for pound. He was always he's always sat right outside my top 5. But he was always, he's a top 5, he was a top 5 pound for pound. But some people are, giving him a little bit too much hell, as if, he didn't make any accomplishments before these last 2 losses. Now, the one thing I wanted to touch on as well, man, was the Charlo versus Rubin fight, man. Man, I really like Rubin, man. I really do, man. But I think he's biting off just a little bit more than what he can chew, man. I think he's getting a little bit in over his head, man. Charlo, he's not only a good fighter, but I mean, Charlo has a chance to really be a great fighter. Both of the Charlos got a chance to be great fighters, and they're not, they're just as hungry as Rubin. So I don't know, man. I just don't think Rubin's going to be really. I don't think Rubin's going to be ready for a real professional, hungry fighter. That pretty much just got as many Because see, that's one thing Lubin doesn't realize. Lubin always had more tricks in his bag than every other professional fighter he's fought thus far. Charlo's going to have the same amount of tricks in his bag, or even more, than Lubin. And it's really up to Lubin to really try to overcome that. But that's my call, man.
Jay Will, great call as always. Going out to Santiago in Los Angeles. What's up, Santiago? Santiago.
Hey guys, sorry about that. I was getting a call when I was about to hit the unmute button. Anyways, welcome back, Nez. I hope everything went well in Puerto Rico. You enjoyed yourself despite Hurricane Irma. It's nicely.
Are we on speakerphone?
Sounds like it.
No, I'm not on speakerphone. I'm wearing headphones.
Ah, that's why.
Or the window must be open then.
Get us off headphones. We're coming right back to you, Santiago. We're going to go to Marcus.
Headphones are usually good, but he must have Bluetooth headphones or something.
Marcus.
Yo, what's good, Boxing Boys? Glad to see y'all back, man. Yo, check this out. You touched on a lot of topics, man. I got to get on a couple. Yo, check this out. Roman Chocolatito, I agree with you, Ness, man. Listen, there's three nuances in boxing. The brawler loses to the boxer. The infighter beats the boxer. The brawler destroys the infighter. Kit Kat Rungvisai is a brawler. He beat the shit out of the inside fighter, which was Chocolatito. It's okay that Chocolatito shot shots at him, but he stayed in front of the brawler when he finished his combination. He waited for the receipt all night. He never ducked out, stepped right or left. I still think he could have beat him because I still think he's more skilled than Rungvisai, but he stood in front of Rungvisai because I felt like he had something to prove from the last fight. Rungvisai hit hard as shit. If y'all go back to what I told y'all last time, I had picked Chocolatito, but after watching the fight, I was like, yo, Rungvisai beat him. Harder, more damaging punches. He seemed to be even throwing the punches with more conviction the other night because he saw Chocolatito wasn't giving him any of the head movement and angles that was giving him problem. He was trying to dip a little bit, but it really was Chocolatito like doing like the Earl Spence joint with him and his man going to body was like, I punch, you punch, I punch, you punch. And when he did that, everybody has said Rungvisai hits very hard. And at 115, he's a very hard puncher. If Chocolatito can't make that adaptation, how can you consider him a pound-for-pound fighter? It's not that he has to change from fighting how he fights as far as being in the pocket. It just means you got to fucking move. And if you're not willing to fucking move, either one or two things. You too stupid to move, which means you're not a pound-for-pound, or you don't have the ability to move, which means you're also not a pound-for-pound. It means you're a good fighter.
Marcus.
As far as the Erks and Lubin, yo.
Just very quickly, I want to ask you a question just to clarify your point. Just to clarify your point, when you say he's not pound for pound, you mean pound for pound number one, right?
No. Listen,
he's not even top 10. He's not even top 10.
I'm about to tell you. There's two consensus pound for pound lists with me when you're talking to people. You have to ask if you're talking body of work pound for pound, or if you're asking if you took the fighter's skill set at what they're doing right now and put it against when it across a plateau where everyone was even weight and you carried with you what you whipped. Does this fighting style beat other fighting style? Well, we saw that when we were even weight, Chocolatito beat the shit out of people. It wasn't until he was really fighting uphill that we found out his style doesn't work. Okay, so pound for pound to me is that if you made everyone equal and brought their skill sets to an equal weight, whose style would win? Let me get extra 10 seconds because but here go the other part. When Lubin said the thing about Mike Tyson was 27 wins in, even though he was 20, and he had fought people who had Olympic track records. If Lubin at 18 or 19 wins doesn't have those Jane Quick Tillises, he doesn't have those Henry Tim, he doesn't have those fighters that still nonetheless Mike had that brought Mike along. Mike was 11 fights deeper in. So that's my call, man. Welcome back. DC in the building, Boxing Voice for life, man. I'm out.
Great call, Marcus. Heading back to Santiago.
As always, he's always got a great call.
Always. That's why you got an award the last time we did an appreciation night. You know.
True. Santiago, you back?
Yeah, I'm back, and I wasn't using Bluetooth headphones either. I was using the ones that
that come with a jack, like you prefer that we use, Ness.
Yeah, I told Matt the headphones are good, but you probably had your window open, right?
Yeah, I was in the car. I was coming to Target to go get some stuff.
Yeah, see, I know the difference between wanting breeze in your hair and cheap headphones. Matt doesn't.
Still bad sound quality.
Anyways, like I said. Anyways, welcome back, Ness. Hope you were able to have a safe trip back home. And obviously, you already know that me and Matt were at the Superfly event. I thought it was a great fight, great card. Special shout out to Stanisa Superbad Estrada on her win on the undercard. And, you know, it was nice to see Inu in action, his American debut. Obviously, you know, I hope to see him in against better competition. Hopefully a guy like Carlos Cuadras, you know, Juan Francisco Estrada. But, man, that knockout, you know, that's pretty much the end for Chocolatito as far as I'm concerned. You know, those are some really that's a nasty knockout to try and recover from. And I don't think he can, you know, like Matt said, and like I think a few other callers have been saying, sometimes you just find that one guy that, you know, you can't beat. No matter what you do, you can't beat. There's nothing you can do against them. So, you know, we'll see where Srisaket Sor Rungvisai goes from here. You know, obviously, Estrada is mandatory at this point. We'll see if they get that fight made. And maybe he can prove himself as a legitimate world champion to take notice of. And as for the Benavidez fight, I was a little surprised at how the fight started off. Obviously, I thought that he was going to come in there, try to, you know, work the volume, overwhelm his opponent, and eventually get the knockout in like the 6th round. And I could see the case for them giving it to Ronald Gavril, because Gavril did his best to make Benavidez, being the bigger guy, a disadvantage. So we'll see if they make the disadvantage. I do think that Benavidez won. I do think he was slightly benefited by that, though. And hopefully in the rematch he can do the work that we know he's capable of doing. Don't have much to say. I didn't get a chance to see the Oleksandr Usyk Marco Huck fight. Hopefully I'll get a chance to see that on the replay. Any questions you guys have regarding any of these topics, feel free to ask. Otherwise, that's my call.
Well, all right, Santiago. Thanks as always for calling in. We're going out to your coach,
Mr. Info Joe.
Tell the truth, yo! Tell the truth!
This portion of the show we call In the
Mr.
Know,
Info Joe.
presented by my brother.
Tell the truth, yo! Tell the truth!
LA's finest is in the building. What's up, TBV fam? Man, I missed this show, man. This shit is therapy for me. First off, prayers in the air for anybody affected by these fucking hurricanes, whether you be in Mexico, Florida, Houston, Puerto Rico, to all the Caribbean islands, man. My prayers in the air. This is Info Joe. Stay safe. Yo. The Friday night's card. I felt Jellian Love. He lost that fight. Also, I like Caleb Plant a lot, man. The dude is real skillful. I hate that Floyd gave him a C, even though he won 12 rounds. But he was food for Caleb to knock out, and he should have made a big statement and knocked that dude out. Benavidez fight, I can't pronounce the guy's name that he fought, man. I did expect a lot more from him. I did hold him high in regard from the Porky Medina fight. But I think sometimes, man, they can push you to. You can get cocky and get sloppy, and maybe he didn't think the other guy was presented challenging him, but he did. I did think he won. It was a close fight, but I think he needs to. I don't know, man. He didn't look like he looked before. Far as hey, man, shout out to the Stub Hub, man. You always get your money worth. I wish I was there. I wish they had another card there out here this year. This is the first time I've ever been excited to watch the little guys fight, man. The whole card, it was entertaining, man. I'm kind of ignorant of knowing a few of those guys on the card just from hearing you guys on the show, but I've never seen them fight. But I must say I was entertained. I had to agree with Santiago. Sometimes people just got your number. Look at Vernon Forrest beating Shane twice. I wouldn't count him out. The dude is skilled. Do I have him on my pound for pound list? No, because I was kind of ignorant to that weight class and to those fighters that he was fighting. But if you win 45 fights, you should be in somebody's at least top 10. though. I give him that. That's my call, man. Good to hear you guys back, man.
Joe.
Hit those thumbs up. You're listening to the number one. What's up, brother?
I just wanted to let you know, and hopefully Matt and both Steven could remember since they're on, Smoking Joe Franklin is a Patreon, and he donated his ringer status to you. So, you know.
Stop it.
Yeah.
Oh, man, thank you, brother. Oh, man.
So, yeah.
Appreciate that, man. Smoking Joe, shout out to you, brother. I appreciate that, man. Much love from above, man. Appreciate that, man. You made my day, man. I had a trying couple of weeks, man, and this is right on point. Peace.
All right, Joe.
Appreciate
so
that.
now both the producers know they won't make you wait in line. I don't know to see if Matt could remember. We're going out to Gary in Dallas.
Yo, how's it going?
Yo,
Gary.
speaker.
Gary with the speakerphone.
Can you hear me okay?
Now we can.
All the time. Is this better? Is that better?
Yes, sir.
Hello? Yeah, all right. I just wanted to say two things. On Chocolatito was a great champion, but I don't want to say it was an HBO hype job, but if you had him pound for pound number 1 or 2, that means you had him at a Terrence Crawford or an Andre Ward level. It means you had him a little bit overrated. I mean, he was a great offensive fighter, but he was always easy to hit. And if you're that easy to hit, you're not one of the pound-for-pound best fighters in the world. I mean, HBO likes to do that. I mean, he's a little bit, he's an itty-bitty guy, so you can get him for pennies on the dollar, and he's exciting because he was a great offensive fighter, but he was never one of the top 2 or 3 best fighters in the world. They could showcase him, and he was exciting because he threw 100 punches around, and he was a great offensive fighter, but he was never one of the best fighters, at that level. He was never, Terrence Crawford good. So if you had him at that level, you were overrating him. And I want to talk about David Benavidez. I think he's been good too, but homeboy is 20 years old. That's really young. I mean, you can't call him a prospect anymore because he's a WBC champion, which means you really can't handpick his opponents anymore. And there may not be a great 168-pounder, with Badu Jack at 175. There's not a great 168-pounder, but there's a bunch of good ones. And you can't duck and dodge all of them. So, you got the Durrell boys, you got Caleb Smith, you got DeGale, you got Eubank Jr. You're going to have to fight some of those guys. And that guy is still green. And you got Jacobs, too, who's going to fight at 168 probably. He could lose to some of those guys, and that could shatter his confidence. At only 20 years old, they may have moved him along too quickly for his own good. What do you guys think of that?
I don't think they moved him along too quickly, but I also really want to address your idea that in order to be one of the best in boxing, you need to be top 2 or 3 in the world. I think that's a little bit of an inaccurate statement. If you think about the thousands and thousands of pro boxers there are in the world, if you are top 10, even top 15, pound for pound in the world, you are one of the best on the planet. And I think that's a little bit understated sometimes. Like, we look down at people that are number 7 on the pound for pound rank. No, that's fucking insane. The fact that you are number 7 out of thousands of people in a sport, that is something special. Even if he's not number 1, being in that top 10, especially in those lower divisions, matters. It means something. It's relevant. Even if he's not number 1 or number 2 or number 3 for you, which is fine. I don't disagree with that sentiment. But to say he's not one of the best because of that, I think is inaccurate.
All right, Gary. Thanks for calling in. We're gonna go out to Chicago to my friend, the Fight Doctor.
Don't even respect your ass. That's why it's time for the doctor to check your ass, nigga.
What's going on, gentlemen? Fight Doctor in the house on rig jam status as always.
What up, Fight Doc?
What's up?
Well, I want to talk about this pound for pound topic real quick. So you have a guy like Gennady Golovkin, who is obviously ranked high on the pound for pound list. Okay, on a lot of people's pound for pound list. You know, the notable exception being Teddy Atlas. So sometimes on the pound for pound list, you have the guy who's there because of his political connections. And I think that's true in Golovkin's part. On Golovkin's part. Now, me personally, I think pound for pound is not so much about how you look or how many punches you can dodge, but more so about what you've actually done. You know, maybe you took a lot of punches in beating a guy who was regarded as the best in the world, but you beat him, and you beat a ton of other guys like him. You didn't look good it wasn't pretty, but you beat the guys who you needed to beat in order to be pound for pound number one. I think that says a lot more than the fact that you dodged a couple of punches. Now, in Roman Gonzalez situation, you know, you have to look at the fact that in those lower weight classes, it's a lot more competitive. And the fact that he was able to fight at the level he was able to fight at, the age that he was able to fight at, that says a lot. People might say, oh, well, he only moved up 3 pounds. Well, when you weigh 112 pounds, guess what? 3 pounds, listen, when you weigh 147, 3 pounds makes a big difference. It makes a huge difference, okay? If a guy is struggling to make 147, you tell him to make 144, guess what? There's a big difference between making 147 and 144 if you have a problem making 147. So I know for damn sure 3 pounds in the lower weight classes makes a hell of a difference, okay? So let's not crucify Chocolatito just yet, okay? Now, yes, his style, more offensive, less concerned with defense. Yeah, he ran into a guy that had his number, bigger, has a big punch, and I'm about to wrap it up. But look, at the end of the day, when you look at the whole of his resume, you know, I think this rush to judgment as far as pound.
Going out the A-B Fight Doctor. Thanks for calling in, brother. You know you got that 3 minutes, man. You got to learn not to hit after the bell. A-B, we haven't heard from in so long. What's going on, brother? A-B, going once, twice. All right. So, gentlemen, final thoughts before we wrap it up?
Are we doing overtime?
Are we doing overtime?
I mean, we haven't been on the show for a while. You know, we have so much to talk about, Ness, you know?
Is there...
It's a quick show. We could easily do overtime.
Do we have Game of Thrones tonight?
No, Game of Thrones' season's over, man. Come on.
We have Power tonight.
No, Power season's over too. Come on, man.
Oh.
And it's early. It's only 9 o'clock, Ness, and you know you don't go to sleep till like 1 or 2. And you only sleep for like 2 hours, and you get up and
early tomorrow, B. Tomorrow is... What's tomorrow, Matt?
Monday?
In the real world.
Monday?
No, fucking sparring. That's what tomorrow is. That's what tomorrow is.
Tomorrow's my kid's first day of preschool.
And Everlast sent me the same Crawfords they sent Crawford. All right? The black and gold ones he beat Undango with. Well, I'm going to stomp somebody out with those mañana. That's what we could overtime about. Chump. Nah. Final thoughts. Great card of boxing. I think Andre Ward did a decent job commentating. I prefer him over him. I say I prefer him over both B-Hop and Roy. Chocolatito, I think he needs to consider retirement or at least a nice year layoff. He's already going to get a 90-day suspension from the commission due to the knockout. I think he should take a couple of extra months, maybe a year, you know. Think things through. In new way, I would like to see him versus a common opponent. See what he can do. I'm happy for Joshua Pulev. Get that all going. Joshua continues to impress. You know, Pulev is a credible name. I can't shit on him as an opponent. And it's a mandatory defense. I mean, Horn, yet to see what's going to happen. It would be interesting if he could somehow unify with Earl Spence, man. Because I wonder how that works. I know we don't have time, this being the final thoughts outro, right? But I wonder how that works. Bob having that option. But if a lucrative offer comes through, I'm assuming he must notify him. Like, you know, you only have the option to promote the next fight. So he would have to match that offer. You know, so if they sent them enough zeros in an offer to fight Earl Spence, I wonder what would happen. Usyk impressed me. Definitely left a better taste in my mind in terms of his skill and ability than his last fight on HBO, which didn't leave me as happy. Yeah, and that's about it, man. Happy to be back, and I guess we'll join you guys in overtime in a couple of minutes. For those that want to join us on patreon.com/Thaboxingvoice, where we can catch up with each other, man. So much that we haven't discussed. But my name is Nestor Gibbs. Find me on Instagram and Twitter at NestGTO. And you can catch my my boxing vlog journey on patreon.com/Thaboxingvoice.
Yeah, definitely go check out Ness's vlog. It's some riveting video work right there, you know, with the overlay, you know, that special overlay you have, Ness. Good shit. My final thoughts, it's the end of an era. And, you know, I know people like Ness really don't care about this era, but the Roman Gonzalez era in those weight classes was something. For hardcores, for hipsters like me, we liked Roman Gonzalez. We watched him when he fought Kiryu Agashi. We saw him fight Estrada. We saw all those fights before they were really on HBO. So it's really sad that that's over. That stage, that legacy is now over with, in my opinion. That he is probably going to retire soon, if not retire now. So it's just sort of sad, you know, whenever you see a legend, a instant first ballot Hall of Famer like Roman Gonzalez get iced like that, have his career ended like that potentially. It is quite sad to watch. But Kit Kat, man, he is definitely a force in the division. I know a lot of people either want to discredit him or think that he is not a talented boxer. I think he is extremely talented. I thought he was robbed against Carlos Cuadras years ago. I think he has reaffirmed what I believed back then, that this guy was a contender in this division. And now he obviously shows that he is a championship level fighter. I can't wait to see him in their fight, maybe a new way. Another guy that really impressed this weekend. And plus Estrada, obviously beating Cuadras in a split decision. A fantastic fight. AJ Pulev, in my opinion, is an okay fight. I think you can make arguments that it's his second best opponent after Klitschko. But in my opinion, the great part about that story is that now it seems so much more likely that we're going to get Deontay Wilder versus Luis Ortiz in November. And that's, in my opinion, the fight that's really going to validate Deontay Wilder's legacy in his career so far, or thus far. So I can't wait to see that as well. Can't wait to see what happens from that. And obviously Manny Pacquiao, being the legend that he is, being the second best fighter of the last 20, 30 years. What is he going to do next? What is his moves? What are his plans? Those are always going to be headline news. So I can't wait to see what happens there as well. I'm Matt the Hipster Hunter. You can find me at Mixed Combat News on Twitter, Matt Hunter TBV on Instagram. And my MMA podcast is Mixed Combat Radio. You can find me on Patreon, SoundCloud, YouTube, iTunes, etc. And obviously, go to patreon.com/Thaboxingvoice to catch us for an extra bit of time after the show's over. And we talk about a slew of topics.
And I'm Steve Calderon. You can find me at Calderon92 on Twitter and on Instagram at sugar_steve.c. Superfly was super fun, and I really can't wait for next week.
Short and sweet. All right, Steven. Well, see you later.